Alright, fun fact about this 12th gen Toyota Corolla Altis. Our 25-year-old Gen Z videographer actually didn't know what car this was. Does that mean it's not relevant for young people or in 2025? Let's find out. This is Ash Mayne for Zigwheels, and this is our review of the Toyota Corolla Altis GR-S HEV. However, I think I can actually forgive him for not knowing what this car is because, to be honest, it's not a common sight on Philippine roads nowadays. But when you do see it, I think it has the road presence. The GRS models have always looked good, visually at least, and this one, the 2025 facelift, doesn't disappoint. So first off, you have your new front bumper, which is reminiscent of the GR Yaris. So times are changing because you're actually comparing a Corolla to a Yaris. Maybe until they bring in the GR Corolla itself. It has a honeycomb finish, but it's not shot through all the way. But it does have openings here and even a little bit here on the side for performance, maybe. You have a nice set of LED headlamps with very striking DRLs and a little blue tinge because hybrid. But notably, they haven't put it anymore on the Toyota badging. Alright, here from the side, you can really appreciate the platinum white pearl mica color, which is exclusive to the GRS HEV. The GRS non-HEV still exists, but there is no HEV non-GRS. Do you follow that? One surprising thing about this car, it has 149 millimeters of ground clearance, according to Toyota, which is pretty high. It's higher than the Civic, for example, by a bunch, and even higher than the Vios. So why do we even need the Corolla Cross, right? For the wheels, you have conservatively sized 17 inches with 225 wide tires. You have the new Beyond Zero badging here, an update. Blacked out side mirrors with the 360-degree camera. Overall, the side profile is classic Corolla. It doesn't really stand out from the side. It's in the front and in the back where you can really appreciate the GRS design. And I think the back might be my favorite angle. Now here might be my favorite part of the car, the rear. So we'll start with your trunk lid spoiler. It's gloss black, not carbon fiber, so a bit classy that way. You have this black trim here which doesn't light up. It's not a light bar because as you can see, the LED taillights only light up here, but they look really good with their smoked finish. The Corolla Altis badging, so educate yourself. This is what it looks like if you don't recognize this car. GR Sport badge again and again, an HEV. The rear bumper has also been redesigned, but it's subtle compared to the front. You have a conservative diffuser and no visible exhaust. So I really love the blacked out or smoked out tail lights. They look clean, especially against the exclusive white colorway. But the big weak spot for me here is the lack of a visible exhaust. In this day and age, when even crossover SUVs come with functional dual exhaust pipes or twin exhausts, how can a GRS model not have one, not even a single exit? Toyota, please fix that. Okay, so inside the Altis GRS, it looks very familiar if you've been in any other GRS model. GRS branding on your seats, steering wheel, floor carpets, and the red seat belts. So first of all, you have a new 12.3-inch digital display cluster that matches the layout and graphics of the newer models as well. So especially when you put it into the different drive modes, so you get the nice animation of the car coming out and not just a little word in the corner of the screen. Over here in the middle, you have your 9-inch infotainment with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto to go with your wireless charger. One thing I don't like about the wireless charger though is the cubby hole is a bit tight and it's a bit hard to repeatedly put and get back your phone. Like my hand barely fits in there. But overall, the center console is okay. You have two cup holders, your electronic parking brake, your shifter. You also have your EV mode button, which you can get more use of nowadays because they upgraded this version with the lithium-ion battery pack versus the older nickel hydride battery, and it ups the capacity as well. So if you look at the little pie chart we have here, you can see the EV driving ratio we had is actually pretty high, thanks to that battery in part, which also means better fuel economy, which we'll get to later on. So going back to the creature comforts, the seats, the typical GR seats, you might be used to them by now, seeing them on our videos. So it has a nice amount of side bolster and combines leather and suede finish. And the surprising thing about this is it's softer than it looks. Like you see a picture, you think, oh, this might be a firm experience, but actually it's pretty soft and I can really feel my butt sinking into the seat when I sit down. For the driver, you have a power adjustable setup. with a very hefty lumbar support. And when you max it out all the way, it really feels like a big push in the back. So for you fans of that, it's a worthy upgrade. The passenger though gets a normal manual seat adjustment. Dual zone climate control, no seat ventilation or anything fancy, but it is an upgrade from the single zone automatic of the lower end models. You have an electrochromic rear view mirror and soft touch material, door cards, dashboard, especially for the passenger, and red stitching because GR-S. To the steering wheel, so you do have your GR branding, but in a non-sporty move, you don't have paddle shifters. But you do get automatic windows all around instead of just for the driver. So now let's check out what you get in the back. All right, here in the back row, I am sitting behind my natural driving position, and I'm sorry, but it is too tight for me. I have to spread out my knees to the side to fit. But let's try putting it forward a bit, simulate someone not 6'2", and let's see how it works out. All right, so as I mentioned, it's a bit tight here, but that's me behind me. So we put Kent in front, and he's gonna adjust to his own position, and let's see how much that gives me. And yeah, I've recovered some space, so I have more for my knees. I don't really have to spread out strictly. My feet room is okay, even though we have your battery pack. My headroom is better here, by the way, compared to something like the Vios, where I definitely rub my head on this part of the ceiling. Here I can sit down straight. And of course, horizontal space, no problem. Amenities for the people in the back though, you do get 2 aircon vents, but no USB port. And a center armrest with cup holders. Plus, they didn't skimp out and not give you red seat belts in the back. One interesting touch though is it does have a privacy screen here. It's manually operated, unlike the one for the Camry, but you might find some use for that, especially when you're driving somewhere where you don't want anyone peeking into the car. So speaking of driving, let's go. Alright, so behind the wheel of the Toyota Corolla Altis GR-S HEV. Alright, so under the hood, you have a 1.8-liter naturally aspirated engine mated to the electric motor. Combined, they make 122 PS and 142 Newton meters of torque. And that's enough to hustle the car along nicely. Alright, so performance-wise, those numbers, 122 and 142, aren't gonna win you drag races, but you do get off the line pretty quick thanks to, the hybrid powertrain delivery. And it works the way most Toyota hybrids do, so low speed. You try to rely on the EV as much as possible, EV mode. When you get up to speed on the highway, it likes to transition into going solely off engine power. And you can see it live happening on the energy view monitor when you hit an overtake. It combines both systems to give you all the beans you need to pull off any overtake you need to. And so while the GR-S might not have like the straight line performance of a real GR model, one place where it shines is in its turning capabilities. So yeah, they've retuned the suspension with some GR-S bits, retuned the steering. And performance-wise, it gives you the confidence to take turns with a bit of speed. Like it feels planted, and the body roll is not so much. So on some highway off-ramps or entry ramps, you can take it faster than you normally would, and it feels like the car is pretty much in control. It's not sports car-like, but it's a very secure feeling. And I think that's where the GR-S performance, or the Toyota Altis GR-S performance, shines the most. Not going in a straight line, but going through turns. When it comes to steering and the turning radius, it's pretty decent. It's not the biggest sedan in its class, but it's not the smallest either. But as you can see, lots of room for a U-turn. And the suspension, you have your McPherson struts up front and an independent rear suspension, which goes a long way in dampening the impacts of potholes and stuff. That's what I like the most about this GR-S tuned suspension. So the steering has some good weight for an EPS system, and the GR-S tuned suspension, which is the most performance you can get out of the GR-S package, still has some road buzz, still has road noise, some vibration, but it soaks up bumps and imperfections really well. So if you're of the kind who thinks all Toyotas are madagdag, well, Have you tried their sedans? The real sedans, the real TNGA platform sedans for you platform snobs out there who don't like Daihatsu bodied Toyotas, then maybe you should consider spending a bit more and experiencing this, a real like OG platform of Toyota with all Toyota engineering. And it pays off in ride comfort, in my opinion. So this time it's Ken sitting in the back, and he says he agrees it is softer. His only gripe about the rear seats is they're a bit too upright for his taste. Sadly, you can't recline them, so you'll have to get used to it. The non-hybrid Corollas also get a displacement pump. Everything gets a 1.8 now, so goodbye to the 1.6 if you were thinking about that one. Power deliveries as you expect from a hybrid car. The torque comes in right away, no delay, easy to overtake on the highway. When it comes to fuel economy, of course, stellar results. I did a Parañaque to BGC loop, rush hour. I got around 17 kml. On the highway, depending on your patience level. So for me, I wanted to go at 100 the whole time. I got around 24 to 25. And I'm sure you can make that go higher with a bit more restraint. Overall, mix them together, you get 20 on average without trying. Very decent numbers. Also, one thing I noticed about this car, usually I don't notice the performance of the AC, but it's really cold in here. And I found myself having to put it to fan speed 1 in 23 or even 24 on a normal day. Good job, Toyota, on that one. Safety-wise, you get the whole Toyota Safety Sense setup. You have your lane tracing assist, blind spot monitoring, pre-collision system, and parking sensors, plus the 360-degree camera. It's not the best resolution for that camera, by the way, but it's good to have even on a sedan of this size. The non-HEV GR-S does get Toyota Safety Sense as well, but it misses out on the 360 view camera. So that's reminiscent of SUVs getting some extra over their non-top end models still. Aside from that, it's also only the GR-S HEV that gets the blind spot monitors. So two nice to have features that might help make up the price difference versus the non-HEV. Now let's talk about pricing, which is probably the biggest weak point of this car. So this comes in the GR-S in platinum white at 1,761,000 pesos. For reference, that's around 200k less than a Corolla Cross GR-S, and around that much or maybe more for say something like a Civic RS. And of course, if you compare this to any China car out there, even a China crossover, this is going to be more expensive. But what do you get for that price? So first of all, you buy this car for resale value. A Toyota has like bulletproof resale value, and I think this might hold, especially considering how rare it is on the road. It's approaching something of real special model status with how often or how rare you see an Altis, let alone an Altis GR-S on the street. And as I mentioned, you see one, it does have the road presence that comes with being a good-looking car and extra rarity points as well. Second part is you're supposed to get Toyota reliability, but we don't know if you've noticed, but actually there is something broken on this car. The touchscreen line came out just like on a bad cell phone screen. So it came out of nowhere one night. It was pink, bright pink, and it toned down for our shoot, but I don't know how it's going to look in a few days. So probably something like this, you need to get it for warranty. For example, this car does have 4,000 kilometers in the odometer, so covered for sure. And we're betting, since this is Toyota, you don't have to wait months for a touchscreen replacement should something like this happen. So there's that. Because we often hear about like, hey, what about maintenance like 10 years down the line? What about resale value? What about all those stuff? Well, of course, we can't tell you exactly what's going to happen 10 years from now. But what you can do is you can work off the manufacturer's past track record to see how it works. And so far, Toyota has proven itself there. They've also proven themselves that they do price their cars a bit high lately, and so that's on them as well. So this car actually solves a lot of problems we see you guys commenting about on our channel all the time. How a DNGA isn't a real Toyota, how Toyotas are matagtag, all of that stuff. So now this car solves all the problems. All you had to do was buy a sedan that no one buys anymore. But still, the price issue is there. That is why we think this GRS really approaching like somewhat like of a enthusiast, special car guy's car at this point. It's turning into an if you know you know sort of appeal thing. And I think it's not bad to have something like that. It's a more accessible like enthusiast style option for Toyota aside from the full fat GR models. And what our Gen Z guy thinks now that he's been acquainted with the car is he says it's actually pretty nice. And in a Toyota-like way, it does have all the essentials without overloading you with tech or fancy gadgets that might break down in the future. So in short, what do I like about the Altis GR-S? It's nice to drive and it feels very solid and well put together and not overwhelmingly high-tech in that way that Toyota really knows how to do. Would I buy it at 1.7 million? I think possible if it is my daily driver so I can get the max out of it. I wouldn't buy this as a second car or a car for someone to drive me around in because I think I'd be missing the main point of the GRS like package put together. But what do you guys think? So overall, I think the Corolla Altis, for its maybe final refresh for the 12th gen, has entered a new stage of its life. Low-key, this might be actually an enthusiast car. With the looks, the steady performance, the reliability, and the ability to dress it up even more if you wish. But what do you think? Let us know in the comment section down below and make sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.